Hi, my name is Prinna, and this is my husband, Chris. We first want to thank you for this incredible opportunity to speak to you tonight about our experience with Face Lodge, a place that we are truly passionate about as a couple and as an entire family. Our Face Lodge story really began on the day of our daughter Sophia's funeral, October 15th, 2007. Mixed in among the cards that people gave us on that day was a folder. You can see the actual folder on the screen. Handwritten on the folder was, "When you're ready." It could have so easily gone unnoticed, unopened, unused. But several months later, for reasons we don't know or understand, we came across this folder and opened it. Inside was a brochure to a place called Face Lodge. To give you some background on where Chris and I were during that time, our sweet daughter Sophia had just died at the age of 10 months. The cause of death was sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS. It had taken weeks to get that diagnosis, and we had been in a fog of grief and fear and unanswered questions. We were lost in every sense of the word. So to us at that time, it seemed that this folder was offering us some sense of direction, something we desperately needed. A few weeks later, Chris and I backed out of the driveway to make the 2-hour drive to Danbury, Wisconsin. We would be staying at Face Lodge for the first time. And you wouldn't think you'd remember a single car trip this vividly so many years later, but I do. I still remember the look of worry and sadness on my parents' faces as we drove away. I remember the distance that I felt from Chris, even though we were right next to each other in the car. I remember the feelings of fear poking up through the dullness of what had been months of my own depression and grief over the sudden loss of our daughter. And we all wondered the same thing. Why would we go to a place that was filled with other grief-stricken parents to talk about death and loss? As you can probably guess from Chris and me being up here tonight, none of these fears materialized. From the moment we caught our first glimpse of Face Lodge, we felt an overwhelming sense of peace. The long driveway was canopied by bright white birch trees. Rounding the curve that led up to the lodge, we passed the path of inspiration. We heard the gentle notes of a wind chime in the distance. We walked in through the front door and were greeted as Sophia's parents. We knew then and there we were in a very special place. We spent time walking through the woods and sitting out on the front porch overlooking the pond covered in water lilies. The next day, the other guests began arriving, and almost immediately we felt a connection to them. We recognized their looks of sadness, loneliness, and hopelessness, the same feelings that had consumed us for the past 6 months. The weekend was beyond our wildest imagination. The moms sat talking about the things we hadn't been able to say to anyone else. The dads gathered in the porch area and hammered away constructing wooden planters. We decorated heart-shaped stones with the names of our children and set them down near a bridge by the lake. This bridge made such an impact on us both. It was so peaceful looking, but also because as we selected a spot for Sophia's stone, we felt surrounded by support and love. We were not alone, and neither was Sophia. Chris and I both now understand so many years after losing Sophia and opening that folder, that going to Face Lodge is actually one of the bravest, strongest, and most courageous things that a couple or parent or family can do. And during a time when they feel the least bit brave or strong or courageous. When a parent or a couple or a family commits to staying at Face Lodge. When they back out of their driveway, it doesn't happen without immense support from friends, family, clergy, and even sometimes strangers, like the one who left us that folder. Honestly, thank you. Chris and I were reluctant to tell our story tonight and then ask for your financial contribution. But we know firsthand that your donation will change the course of a family's grief. It will set them on a road to hope and healing and strength. Here's where our road has led. 2 years later, on the anniversary of Sophia's death, Chris and I achieved the fundraising goal to dedicate that bridge at Face Lodge in our Sophia's name. This is our family on the day of the bridge dedication. We gathered at this place that we had all been so hesitant about. And this is our family just this past 4th of July. All of us in this photo wondered about what Face Lodge had to offer back in March of 2008. And Chris and I, our parents, and siblings and nieces and nephews and the children that have joined our family since losing Sophia all know now. We believe that none of these things would have happened if we had not opened that folder. We would not be where we are as parents, as a couple, and as a family without Face Lodge. Our grief hasn't been nearly as scary or lonely because we know so many other parents and families are going through the same journey. Your support of Face Lodge tonight is your folder for a couple, for an entire family that you may never know, for when they are ready. Thank you.